Hey guys, I wanted to come at you real quick with some interview keys to success. I noticed in a couple areas that there were some concerns or questions about making sure the show to training was where it needed to be. So I wanted to just give you some overall reminders on how to get the right types of people in training, and more importantly, recruit the right types of people. And I think first of all, it all starts with what's your mentality. I heard a funny stand-up bit by Bill Burr where he was talking about the averages and the percentages of certain institutions, certain I guess long-term relationship setups and situations, and he related it to somebody jumping out of a plane with a parachute, knowing in advance that half of them were going to fail, and would you be willing to take that risk? Well, my question for you is when you go into an interview, what is your expectation? Do you expect that half of them are going to show and half of them aren't? Because I'm just going to tell you, if that is your expectation, you've screwed up the interview to begin with. So your expectation needs to be that if you're going to recruit somebody, they're going to be in training and they're going to launch and they're going to be successful. And you got to believe, not only think, but really truly believe in the deepest part of your heart that you provide the best opportunity for a young professional on the planet. An opportunity to get great experience for the resume, opportunity to make great income, opportunity to really change their life for the better. So, so you got to be excited first and foremost about getting every single person in. Your expectation needs to be, if they're in front of you, you are the sharpest human being on the planet to them. They don't have a job, they need a job, and so because of that, they should be there. So I'm going to break down the whole interview, not going in line by line through the whole interview, but certainly going through section by section. And I think it all starts with the greet. And what I mean by the greet is, what is the flow when somebody comes into your office? Are they met with somebody professional, upbeat, excited, confident, and with a great personality? And that needs to be you as the office owner, or you as the personnel manager, or head administrator, or an assistant manager that's willing to provide both confidence, exude success, and exude comfort. Right when they walk in, there needs to be a warm greeting that they're met with. Meaning something along the lines of, hey, I'm Trey Ketcham, I'm the owner, and you are? Okay, great. Now you're here for the interview, correct? Let's have you come over and sign in. If it's administration, and if it's an administrator, it's, hey, I'm Susie Jackson. I'm the administrator, and you are? Okay, great. Are you here for the interview? All right, let's have you come on in and sign in. And so it's kind of a warm, controlling, pleasant environment, though. Meaning that everything is as it should be. Because keep in mind that some people come in for an interview and they're nervous, so there needs to be direction that happens right when they walk in. When they're greeted and seated, are they sat in an interview room where there's music playing? Is it the type of music that they're comfortable with? You can't be blasting, hardcore hip hop if that's not what's in your market. In fact, I would say you wouldn't blast that in any market just because it may offend some people. At the same time, I wouldn't be rocking hardcore, Southern country music from back in the 80s and 90s either, because you know what, that could also push people the wrong way. It needs to be a very kind of even keel, very universally accepted music station. You could always do whatever the top 20 music station is for your territory. So play music. You have music playing in the interview waiting room, so that way when people come in, they're met with something they're used to and something they're comfortable with. That comfort in feeling is something that's really big in the greeting. During the pre, when you're preing people, I think it's important that you don't make people wait for hours and hours, or 20 or 30 minutes before you pre them. If they show up 30 minutes early, you may have them wait until somebody else gets there. But I certainly wouldn't have somebody that's there an hour early sit there for 45 minutes before you meet with them. I think you let them know, hey, you are early, which is good. So it is going to be a few minutes before I meet with you. If you get done with the application before I meet with you, just grab a magazine and I'll be right with you. By the way, make sure you got magazines out that look good. Then after you do that, you pull them back when the second person gets there, only after you introduce yourself to the second person. Then as you pull them back and you're meeting with them, during the pre-interview, and this is for every single pre. A couple things you're trying to get accomplished during the pre. Number one is kind of give an understanding of what's about to take place, so that way they understand what's going to happen and everything is clear. The other thing that you do is you make sure that you look at their schedule to see if there's going to be any training conflicts. And then the other thing that I like to do personally is I look for something on their application or in their resume that would be an acceptable reason to keep them and why they could be successful at the job. And I need to believe that. I need to truly look at it and say, okay, this person has played sports, which means they're competitive, which means they could be successful here. Or you know what, this person has got a good GPA, which means they take pride in their work and they're willing to work hard to get the grades, so they should be successful here. You know, and so look for a genuine reason to keep somebody. Look for a genuine reason for why they can be successful. And then if they are, and if you find that, you keep them for the interview. All it takes is one good reason, by the way, for somebody to be successful in our business. So look for that in the pre. Then when you have them go back there and sit out, just make sure to remind them, hey, you know, I'm going to have some people either have stay, I may have some people leave, you know, and then so what I want you to do is grab a seat in the other room, read a magazine. As soon as we get started as soon as I get done meeting with everybody, I'll be sure to meet with you. I think the other thing that is important, though, is when you're preing them and you're letting them know what's going to take place. If you have somebody that is sharp, you know, let them know in the beginning of the pre what's going to take place. And I like to say something along the lines of, you know, hey Cole, just as you know, my name is Trey Ketcham. I'm the owner, and what I'm going to do is ask you a few questions, give you some more info, and then I'll have you do one of two things. Either I'll have you stay for a second interview, or I'll take 45 to 60 minutes to go over all the details of the position with you, and then I'll meet with you individually and give you my final decision at the end. Or the second thing I'll have you do is I'll have you leave. And if I have you leave after this, I think we both know what that means. Okay? And then you go directly into your normal pre. You would never do that with somebody who's super nervous. You would never do somebody with that you're unsure if you're going to keep or not. But for somebody you know you're going to keep, somebody who is very confident and it is very sharp, I do like to do that right there at the beginning of the group, or sorry, of the pre. Then once you have them grab a seat. I think it is important that you move efficiently, but you don't rush. And what I mean by moving efficiently is the bigger the group, the slower you go, but you don't want to delay. What I mean by that is as soon as you have somebody leave, you stand up and you move. You're not running, but you are moving. You are moving at a brisk, efficient pace. Think of it like you're working out in a gym and you're going in between sets. You're not sprinting in between. But you are moving, with I guess focus and energy directly to the next person you're meeting with. The next thing is after you get who you decide you're going to keep. I do feel, by the way, that when you're greeting and seating, that you spread people out in the interview room. You don't want somebody sitting right on top of each other as they're filling out their interview application. But once you do meet with everybody, you want to pull up the people to the desk. Certainly, the sharpest go in the middle. And you kind of work your way around from there. Now, once you start, make sure they're all the way up so they can write on the table. So that way they have the ability to be taking notes and paying attention at the same time. During the intro, I do think it is important. The purpose of that intro section is really, again, to establish tone, control, and clarity for what's about to take place. So this way the feeling that somebody should have is, you know what, okay, cool, I'm about to learn about everything that's going to happen. And all my questions will be answered. Because that's an important part of the beginning of the group. It's like, okay, I'm not really exactly sure what I'm going to be doing, but if I know, hey, over the next 45 minutes, I'm going to know literally everything I need to know to do the job, I'm in. As an applicant, I'm down to at least pay attention, and I'm going to be on point with it. I do think that one thing that can help when you're doing that is making sure that you are standing tall. Standing tall with good posture, again, energy, but not overly excited. So energy, but excited. The tone that they should have, or the feeling they should have while they're applying should be, you know what, they seem like a really cool person, but I certainly wouldn't want to piss them off. That's the type of control and familiarity that you want there to be. It's like, okay, you know what, I really want to be like that person, or I really want to work with that person, but I certainly wouldn't want to piss them off. And I do think that, as a general overall theme for why people show, I think there's two reasons, and I'll talk about those at the end, and I'll also talk about two reasons why people don't show at the end. So, but during the intro section, control, clarity, and tone are super important. During the company section, I think something that needs to come out during that company section is credibility. We talk about that in the training seminar with our company section of our presentation. So can you do that with your interview? The purpose of the company section is to establish credibility and also pride. And one of the things that during the company section that I really like to stress is the 5 key decisions that we made. And when you go over those 5 key decisions, I think that that's some point where it's like, this explains why we do what we do. Okay, so it's kind of like in the whole why we do what we do part is exactly like you are in training in the intro talk. Why we do what we do there reinforces the way that the job is. And it also explains anything that may be considered unusual or different than other jobs they've had. So that's something that needs to be connected on when you're doing the company section. When you're talking about the different types of people we work with in the company section, I think that the only thing I like to do is if there is somebody in the interview that is not a traditional college student, when we talk about work with different types of people, you kind of look at them when you say career professionals or people look for supplemental income. You look at the people, you don't like say wink, wink, nudge, nudge, point at you, but you do actually kind of address them slightly when you say, yeah, we work with people from career professionals to people look for supplemental income, and I kind of look at those people in the interview so that way I make sure they hear and see that we do work with them, in general. So those are some couple key things there with the company section. Like I said, credibility and pride needs to come out, during that. During the product section, I think the big key during the product section is it's got to be low key. They're going to naturally be excited about the product. You don't need to sell it. If they feel like they're being sold, they're not going to show to training. So it needs to be it's like a less is more type approach to the product section, meaning low key, kind of confident but low key. It's like, yeah, this is our product. It is amazing. You'll see it for yourself. It's kind of the whole seeing is believing, and one of the key parts of that is when you say the phrase, would you have been less excited if I showed somebody else, if somebody else had showed you the product? No. Okay. Why is that important? That's a key section because that kind of crystallizes in their head. It doesn't matter if I've got experience or not. I can do this job. Another thing that you want to make sure that you do is never do the presentation like you're a sales rep. You show them like you're a sales rep, but you want to say representatives would do this. Or if accepted, you would do this. I never like to say you unless I say if you're accepted beforehand. I do like to say our representatives do this, or our representatives would show the customer how the handle actually comes apart and forms a pair of spare grippers or pliers. I do like to show them a representative would open up this little hatch right here, our locking mechanism right here, and it extends anywhere from 6 to 9 inches. I like to say our representatives would show the customer this. Saying that a lot is something that I think helps you. You never want to assume that they've got the position because the truth is they don't. And until you officially accept them and they're in training, they are not a representative. So you should never refer to them as you would do this or you will do this. Okay? It's always our representatives. So those are a couple keys there during the product. During the market section. Okay, the market section is critical. You need to ramp up the energy here. Change your voice inflection slightly, speed up or slow down based on how you normally talk. But the whole idea is that it needs to be a change and a shift in your speaking mannerisms, because what will happen there is if you slightly adjust it, they'll pay more attention. And the market section is critical to explaining the fundamentals of what exactly they would be doing. Right? So you want to make sure you kind of ramp up your energy or slow down your voice or slow down your speed or tone a little bit or pace a little bit. Whatever you do, just slightly at the beginning of that section in order to kind of create a difference so that it kind of wakes them up and they pay a little bit more attention to it. But I do think it is important that you really have an understanding and a confidence when you talk about the recommendations part. Because that's what shows them how to really build and expand it. And the word-of-mouth advertising section is critical. If you don't have the movie analogy in there or the restaurant analogy, that's so important. Making sure you say the phrase, why is word-of-mouth so effective? Yeah, absolutely, right? Think about it. If you go to a good restaurant or a movie, what's the first thing you do when you get back? A lot of them are like, oh, I post about it on Twitter or Instagram. You're like, yeah, you tell people about it, right? And if it's a good restaurant, do you think you may go back? Absolutely, and that's what our company has done since 1949. Word of mouth advertising and repeat business, or that's how our company did $250 million last year in business, repeat business and word of mouth advertising. And so then that again gives confidence to our programs in the fact that they do work, and it reinforces what they're going to be doing with recommendations. So I think that's a critical section, and also a section why people may not show in the interview. So. Next, pay. With the pay, I think it's natural to get excited about the incentive, but keep in mind, as a representative or as an applicant, they are not excited about it because they don't know how much they're going to make with incentives. They don't think about $1,000 orders or $2,000 orders and how much income they're going to make. They don't think about that at all. They don't even start thinking about that until a couple, into training. So what you really need to do is promote the base pay, and then use the incentive as an extra kind of carrot for people that are competitive or are driven or do like to think of themselves as taking pride in what they do. The reason why I think that that's so important, think about it like the demo. We promote the homemaker, but we show the ultimate in signature. Why? Because we know that some people will get fired up about it and will buy it. Same thing happens in the interview. If you start getting all excited about the commission, since kind of like the ultimate would be, most people aren't going to get excited about it because they're like, you know what, that's not for me. I want something steady. I want something consistent. I want something guaranteed. So get excited about, the base pay, and then show the incentive. And what I do like to do is kind of hint at the success of our representatives there when I talk about the advancement levels. For example, when you talk about 0 to 1,000, when you put the pay chart, right, the pay chart that's kind of up, I guess, up over here in the corner, that's got all the commission levels, don't just put it up there and walk through it. That's boring. You want to say, yeah, from 0 to 1,000, they start off at 10%. Once they get to 1,000, they hit their first pay raise. How long does it take you at most jobs to get your first pay raise? Yep. Well, our average representative will hit their first promotion in their first week, right? Or our average representative will hit their first promotion in their first 2 weeks. Use whatever your fast start average is. If your fast start average is $1,000, they do hit it in their first week. If your fast start average is 500, well, they hit it in their first 2 weeks. Either way, it's way more exciting than any other job they've ever had. Then you say from 3,000 to 6,000, they go to their pay actually doubles. How long does it take you at most jobs to double your pay? Yeah, probably forever, right? Well, from 6 to 10, they're at 25%, and at 10,000 and up, they're at 30%. And so you kind of, again, it's hinting at the success of reps and how quickly they can get promoted or advance, but you're not going all off on it because, again, most people are going to be more excited about the base pay, and so it should be that way. So make sure, though, when you give the examples of both, you don't confuse them by going overboard about, if they sell 1,000, they make 100, and the company gives them an extra 200, so then it only adds up to be 300. What I like to say is just say if they do 20 appointments, they're guaranteed at least 300. If they sell 1,000, they'd only make 100 in there. So in that case, what are they going to get? The incentive or their base? Yeah, they'll get the base. So the company's going to make sure they add the difference, so they get the base back. I wouldn't go all off on, well, they already made 100, and so because of that, they get the extra 200. I think you just say, look, they're guaranteed to get the base. So the company will add the difference, so their check will be for the base. Very simple, very concise, very explainable to mom and dad if they ask about it. During training, I think the purpose of the training section is very simple. It's to build comfort and confidence that they will know how to do the job, and also that they're taken care of. I love the fact that it talks about the 3 parts of training, but you got to make sure that as soon as you get past that initial 3 days of training, you get excited about the paid training appointments. And it's like, hey, once they get here, their pay officially starts, and they get paid from their very first training appointment. And I think you get them excited about the fact they can do as many training appointments as they want and get paid. So during that section, you want to take pride in the fact that even though they're only a third of the way through their actual training, they're getting paid right with their very first one, and they get paid for as many of them. And I do like the phrase of, hey, I figured since I was going to get paid for them, I would do as many as possible. But obviously, representatives can do anywhere from 3 to 50 or more. Okay. During the perks section, and the perks section is part of your, that's kind of like your closing arguments, so to speak, of why the job is so amazing. And I like to go off on experience and team. And I will say, when you talk about experience and team, those last two sections, you really need to have those memorized so you can look at them with perfect eye contact and connect with the experience and with the team. If you're reading your notes about when you're talking about how great the team is, it looks scripted. So you need to create it and make it your own. So as you read through it, if there's something that you want to say is, hey, this is me, do it, but I wouldn't deviate from the script there. But what I would do is I would make sure that you know it so you can say it confidently and look at each of your interviewees, during the experience part in the team, because those are the parts where I think people walk away remembering it. They remember, hey, I'm getting good pay, I'm getting great experience for my resume that people will look at and value later on. At least these are the sharp kids. And this is a job that I can do. It's something that's comfort and easy, and it's risk-free because of the base. Okay, so those are some things during the group interview. Now, when you do the post, I do feel like the post is where you really create your show. And I think it's important that you're super confident during the post. And when you bring people back, the order that I like to bring people back in is as follows. I like to bring back, the sharpest individual first, unless there's somebody that says they are not interested in the job. And what I like to do is, if somebody at the end of the group interview, this happens very rarely. If it's happening frequently, it means that you're not doing something right in the interview. But if somebody does stand up and you can tell they're about to tell you that they don't think the job is for them, what I like to do is, as soon as they stand up and they say, yeah, Mr. Ketcham, and you say, yeah, come with me. And you don't even let them finish their statement. So, yeah, come with me. Because you always know if they're not interested, because they either don't even check a beginning part of the six yes/no questions, or they check no, right? But if you see them stand up, and they start to kind of hand you the, they kind of go like this to hand you back the acceptance criteria sheet, you just say, yeah, come with me. And you walk them out of the interview room and towards the front door is what I like to do. Now, if your interview room is right when they walk in, what I like to do is I'll walk them real quick into my office. I'll kind of halfway shut the door. I won't even sit down because there's no point in wasting your time. But I'll kind of shut the door and just say, yeah, this isn't for you, is it? Right? Or in some cases, they're like, no, I just actually needed a pen. But usually that's not what happens. Usually it's like, yeah, I just don't think it's like, hey, you know what? Not for everybody. Wish you the best of luck in your job search. Take care. All right? And so then you walk them out the front door. And what I do like to do is, as I'm opening the door or letting them leave, I'll just say, hey, again, good luck in your job search. Take care. And so what that does, it kind of shows them that, shows control on your end. They don't feel like you're being rude, and also at the same time, you're able to get back to what needs to happen, which is recruiting the people that are wanting to do the job. So then I'll take the sharpest kid back. If you have somebody that's like super confident or over cocky or something like that, I will take the second sharpest person first and let that person hang a little bit. But what I will do is I'll then go from sharpest to not. All right. Then once you start once you start doing the post, the big key there is allowing them to be to sell themselves on why they should do the job. And the reason I like to do that is I'll give them time to talk a little bit about why they feel this would benefit their future. And then after they say it, I say, yeah, if accepted, that could definitely be something that would help you. All right. Then asking that key phrase after you say, is this something you feel like you could do well with? Okay. Well, there are Johnny. There are a lot of people applying with this. Why do you think you should be selected? And then after you say that, you give them a little bit of time to do that. Now, if they start rambling, I will just cut them off and just say, okay, so what you're saying is you feel like this and this and this. All right. Well, as I did mention, with the number of people applying, I'm not able to work with everyone. In your case. And then you go into why you are accepting them. And so there is a little bit of a pause where it's kind of like, oh, crap, I didn't get the job. You don't want to be like, say, so I want to thank you for applying today, and we're not going to give you the job. Oh, but actually we are. So it needs to be kind of a little bit of a pause, but then you go into, why you accept them. And when you go into why you accept them, make it sincere and genuine. Look for the reason you put down in the resume or the application, and then give them a reason from the interview, meaning maybe it was that they took a lot of notes, or maybe they had great eye contact and you could tell they were really listening and paying attention, or it was, hey, they were answering their questions with confidence and clarity, or you know what, I feel like you're somebody that that's, if given the right position, could really be successful. Or, hey, you reminded me a lot of myself when I was a young representative, but I think you could do well here. Or it's something like, honestly, I just get a great vibe from you, and I felt like in the interview, you're really paying attention, Or the other one that I like to go to if they're kind of shy and nervous, but feel like they're willing to learn, is I say, you know what, you just seem very sincere and genuine. And I know that if I could appreciate that, I know our staff and our customers would as well. So congrats, welcome to the team. And what I like to do there is I like to hold out my hand slightly, but I don't like reach way over to try to do that. I'll just kind of reach out a little bit and let them come to me, shake hands, and then you're good to go. So those are a couple of keys for that. Then as the end, I think this is so critical, is that when you accept them, after you accept them, you got to make sure that when you shake their hand, you go through the training times. This is huge. And if they're signed basically, Friday through Tuesday, what I like to say is, I know you said you'd like to get started as soon as possible. Well, I'd love to be able to get you in here tomorrow. The earliest I can get you in here is Thursday. So does that work out all right? Perfect. Okay, so training will be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Thursday training will be from blank to blank. Does that work out all right? Okay, perfect. Friday will be from this to this. Saturday will be this. Does that work out as well? Okay, perfect. Now the office number this. Now you're part of the team. Bam, you write that in, and then you just review the sheet. You slide it around. So this just congratulates you on being accepted. When you come in for training Thursday, try to go 15 minutes early. Bring a pen and notebook with you so that way you can take plenty of notes. And then make sure to dress professional. If they're already dressed professional, say what you got on is great. If they're not dressed professional, I do like to say, hey, you may want to throw on a tie or something for training, or you may want to at least throw on some slacks and a button down. Do you have that at the house? Okay, perfect. Yeah, because you definitely want to dress up to impress, the rest of the training class. So you definitely want to dress to impress the manager if you're not the one running it. Okay, make sure you do build up the manager if you're not the one running training. Now, if you're signing them on Wednesday or Thursday, again, this is so critical in the pre that you look at it and make sure there's no conflicts. During the pre, if it's a Thursday interview, you do say, hey, I know you said you want to start as soon as possible. Well, just to let you know, if you are accepted, we do have a training seminar this week that we can get you in, and we would want to make sure that you have some time tonight. Do you have some time tonight, if accepted, to be able to do some work from the house before you come in? Yes, you would. Okay, great. Then on Thursday, what you'll do in the post is you'll say something very similar to what you do on Wednesday. The only additional difference that you make is that you would just say, okay, well, rather than make you wait, a couple of weeks to get started, why don't we go ahead and get you in here tomorrow? How's that sound? Okay, perfect. And so then you go over the 2 training times for Friday and Saturday, and then you let them know, hey, by the way, there is going to be, some videos tonight that we're going to need you to watch in order to get your training started. So training will actually begin tonight with those videos. Do you have some time? Do you have high-speed internet that you can get in front of to be able to do that? Okay, you do? Perfect. Well, let's have you come on in and follow me back here. We'll have you stay for the second interview. So you do that in the, during the post, you just say, okay, so your training will start tonight with those videos, and then we'll be able to have you come in tomorrow from these times that we already put down. All right, well, hey, again, congrats. This, this gives you some, just graduate some training. Bring pen and paper when you come in. You want to be about 15 minutes early. And then also, hand them the skills for life. Whenever you hand them the skills for life, you want to say the following. I know you took great notes. This just kind of recaps everything I went over with you. And the last thing I'll mention before you leave is, we're not able to work with everyone. So if you could do me a favor and put that away, just because for those who don't get the job, I wouldn't want there to be any hard feelings. All right, perfect. Well, hey, thanks again. We'll see you here. It was great meeting you. We'll see you here tomorrow, or we'll see you here on Thursday. Take care. Then you go and you meet with the next one, right? And again, same thing. You move. Now, the big key is at the end, you take all of the applications, take all the acceptance criteria. The acceptance criteria go immediately to the receptionist to call for their PRs, and you resolve the interview right away. You cannot wait, especially on a Thursday, because as soon as you resolve it, they'll get the email, right? They'll get the email letting them know that they can log in and watch the videos. So those are some keys, guys, to running a great show, or to getting having a great interview. The 2 reasons why people show to training are as follows. Number 1, they understand the job and they feel like they can do it and they can explain it to mom and dad. And number 2, they want to be like, or they feel like they would want to work for whoever it is that's interviewing and training them. Those are the two major reasons why people show. The two major reasons why people do not show is somebody is not on script for the interview group or pre or post, and the second one is they don't have control. And so if you think about those simple keys, you'll get a great show to training. 55 to 60% is possible. 75% and up for your sharp kids is expected. So guys, go out there and get them. Let's get an amazing show to training. And as always, no excuses. Play like a champion. See you.